to the question. So I'll be muting my mic now. Thank you. All right, I can see that most of you don't have a question or we are still shy to speak. Trust me, once you start writing codes and you kind of see some errors, you'll be forced to speak though. So we'll just proceed. So the I see read one is on live stream. Read one, we are seeing your face. That's good. So the first thing first is there's already a curriculum on what would be. Okay, Darko just raised his hand. Or read one. Yeah, read one.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I on this thing that you on the link that you dropped concerning the attendance stuff. So I saw that you want that a space there that is requiring for unique ID. So I don't know what I should put there. That's my question.
Okay, so during your sign up process and so there is supposed to be a unique ID that is assigned to you. You just have to put that unique ID and so please, if you guys still hear me, because I'm about to share my screen, if you guys still hear me, you guys can give me a thumbs up and we can go straight up. As regard the question that was just asked by everyone, if you didn't get the unique ID, you just also signify in the chat. I will reach out to the admin and we can fix that out. So if that's all the questions you have with one, you can now mute. And now put the hands down. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Without wasting our time, you guys are here. You just introduce yourself. You want me to introduce yourself. You tell us um what you would expect by the end of the bootcamp this time around. So I want to make sure everyone is talking and I'm getting to know everybody in the meeting currently. So I'll mute my mic. You introduce yourself. I'll be starting with read one. I can see Joshua here. I can see James. I can see Moluku. I can see Amarachi. Then let me see the four others here. Hold on just a second. I can see Deborah. I can see Emmanuel. And I can see Oni. Yeah. And I can see Princess Aisha Additional. So let's go one after the other. So read one, you quickly unmute, introduce yourself, then you tell us what's okay. Joshua, I can see your message. You don't have an ID yet. So I'm currently reaching out to the admins in charge of this and see how um okay. And ID was great. Sorry, let me look at the chat. He said I'm currently reaching out to the admin to see what's wrong and why some of you guys don't have an ID. Emmanuel Adudu said an ID was shared earlier as a uniform one, pending those whose IDs will be shared. Okay, I'm currently reaching out to the admin now and we'll get a response as regards that. So while we await a response as regards that, Ridwan, you quickly introduce yourself. Tell us what you expect to learn or to know at the end of the boot camp. Then Joshua goes next. Then James. So that's how we do it. So I'm using my mic now. So you guys should be rest assured that for the unique ID would be sorted out in probably in 10-minute time. So let's keep our discussion going and see then.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Ridwan Olashupo. So I'm a student, I'm into working class person. So what I'm expecting at the end of this program is that although I applied for data analyst or I applied for data analyst. So what I'm expecting is I want to like what are this thing that what is what you really taught us this morning about self confidence. So I would like to be a person that how will I even put it? How will I even put it? So what I'm expecting is that I want to be a person that will just I can help others too as uh, my dream connect to try to explore people, try to make people to know more about tech. So that's my expectation.
Okay, that is great. That was nice to hear. Oh, so you actually opting for data analysis. But be rest assured, some part of data analysis at some point you also need to have knowledge of writing codes, be it Python. When you come to data analysis, I think you guys just lost like more of Python. So I think this will also be an eye opener for you also, because after the boot camp you have good knowledge so that while diving later on you would probably wish to dive further into data analysis. You would already have good knowledge of the programming language, you guys. So please just keep your mind open, just like you said. Trust me, it's going to be an interesting journey, and you would love it, and you also be able to transfer knowledge, just like you said, to others as regards tech. So I'll be welcoming in Joshua to also tell us about himself and what he expects at the end of the boot camp. Sorry to interrupt you, Joshua. I think probably from my end or from your end, the mic is not.
I
I
can't hear
can't
him
hear
as
you
well.
well. Okay. Joshua, if you're struggling with network or your mic, you could also type. Yes, so you could just type what you expect and
Now,
I would read it out. Trust me, I'm a good reader.
now, hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. That's nice. We can. We can.
Okay, I am Joshua Weda from Lagos, and I expect to gain some experience in web development, and I also want to strengthen my problem solving skills so that I'll be able to build responsive and functional websites at the end of this bootcamp. Then I'm also willing to give back to the society. Ready to also, teach people about tech and also guide them. All right. Thank you.
All right. That is very, very great to hear. Um, Oh, trust me, on this session also we'll be adding a little of AI to most of the sites we build. That's using APIs because the web is transitioning to something bigger where we include a little of AI to do the big tasks. And I got one key point of what you made there. You said your problem solving skills. One thing about programming is there's an aspect that has to do with writing codes. But before you write codes, you have to actually break down the problem. You get you pick out the problem, you list out steps to solve the problem, you make your flow diagram or your flow charts on how you want the problem to be solved. Then you can now start writing code. So that's a good point I took note of there. How to solve that's the problem solving skills. So when you pick, let's say you get contacted by an industry or an individual, a business or a solopreneur to help solve a business logic, that's definitely a problem. You get so you actually pick his business logic and break it down to something that software can help. So I really appreciate that point. And at the end of the meeting, or at the end of the boot camp rather, you would attestate to the fact that you achieved your goal. You guys have good goals and response, and I really appreciate that. So let me move straight to James. James, let me have your own view and what you would expect also.
Good afternoon, Mr. Iboyi. Good afternoon to everyone on the meeting. Please, can you confirm if you can hear me?
Sure,
I
we
can
can
hear
hear you
you.
loud and clear.
Yeah.
Oh,
Perfect. Thank you.
can loud
So
and clear.
once again, I want to thank the My Dream Connect folks for giving us the opportunity to learn this, because learning this outside is gonna take cost a lot of money. This is a great opportunity. So I'm eager to learn about programming and website development, and I wish to use it positively. And I wish to contribute positively to my environment also. Thank you.
All right, that is great. When you say contributing to your environment, then I would say in this part of the boot camp, I would also be introducing you guys to how to contribute to open source environments, whereby you see, I don't know, when you get to programming, there's one principle that we keep in programming. We say, don't reinvent the wheel. And we mean don't reinvent the wheel means there has already been codes that help you solve a particular logic. So instead of going through the stress of rewriting those codes, you could actually just pick them and use them on your own code base. I hope you get my point. Like right now, I'm really working on a project that has to do with attendance and the rest of the stuff. I would like to validate the email or the passwords. Let me take away the password aspect. I'd like to validate the emails of people that are registering on the platform. So how do I do that now? I have to first check if the email is either is having a .gmail, .yahoo, .so. Those extensions. I would like to verify if they are following the semantics that mails should follow. So that's the first thing. So rather than me rewriting a code that has to do with doing this, there's already what we call Express Validator. So with Express Validator, I can now validate the emails rather than me writing the codes. So that's what they mean by don't reinvent the wheel. So some of these packages I use, they are open source. I don't know if you guys get my point. So they are open source and they would also want people to contribute. So by so doing, James, you can contribute to the tech environment. Maybe you jump on a project that is already existing and seeing how you can help them further. So that's just one thing there. Very nice response I got from you, James. Let me move straight to who can I say here? I'm seeing um okay, before I point out to Amarashi to introduce, I can see Temitayo just said, I just joined. Am I supposed to do anything? All right, Timothy, I'll be dropping a link, and I'm actually I've checked out the link, and I've seen that the link is functional. You guys were given a temporary ID, and that's the temporary ID you guys should be using. Can you hear me now, James? I just heard you say my line is breaking. I saw your chat now. Can you hear me now? If you can hear me, I just want a thumbs up from all of you.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay, that's great. So, Amarachi, you can now proceed with introducing yourself and telling us what you expect from the boot camp by the end of the boot camp.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. My name is Amachi Ondile, and I registered for web programming because I want to learn how to code using Python, CSS, and the likes. So I just expect that by the end of the class, I'll be able to know how to code and create websites myself. Thank you.
All right, that is great. So, by the end of the session, we would all be creating websites with HTML and CSS. But Amarachi, one more thing I'd like to also like indulge you to do is after the boot camp, there's more to CSS. We have Tailwind, we have SCSS. There are a lot of CSS processors out there that make writing CSS easier. For now, you're going to go through and a lot of like stress coding with CSS. That's styling your HTML codes with CSS. So, but you would enjoy the process because if you should know this process well, you'll be able to use those advanced CSS processors like Tailwind. There's one they call Bootstrap and
Okay.
the rest of the stuff. So, thank you very much, Amarachi.
Thanks, sir.
Let us now proceed to Oni. I can see. Yeah, you're welcome, Amarachi. Oni, you can now unmute and tell us about what you'd expect by the end of the boot camp.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go
Hello,
on.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud
Okay.
and clear. Yeah, we can.
My name is Oniola Toyeshe. I'm from Ibadan. So basically, what I expected to learn at the end of this program is I wanted to have a basic knowledge of coding and programming. Actually, my intention was to go for data analysis, but previously I've done one or two research about data analysis, so I saw that using Python requires a lot of coding. So that was the reason why I thought it would be more helpful if I can get a bit basic knowledge of coding before going to data analysis. So at the end of this program, I intend to have a basic knowledge of coding and programming. Thank you.
Wow, that is great, Oni. Let me give you an experience I had some like last year, middle last year. I'm on this platform they call freelancer, and a particular client reached out to me and said he wanted to there are these platforms on Canada. That was Canada, yes. The they list out, it's not like the way Nigeria is, where everybody has to reach out to an agent in order to rent a house. Once you go to their websites, you will see houses that are available. You can talk to the landlord, you can see their terms and conditions. So this person needed to scrape those data and do some analysis on them. He was a data analyst, but he couldn't do that part because he has no knowledge of the web. So, and having knowledge of the web is also good because with that you won't be needing some people to help you scrape the data which you want to analyze. I don't know if you get my point. So trust me, this bootcamp is for you, and with that it will also guide you properly on your data analysis journey. um with that, let me quickly clarify Temitayo, welcome to the bootcamp. I know you joined late. You weren't supposed to do anything, just a link I was going to send to you. Then when I send the link to you, you mark up your attendance. You would use a temporary ID that has been sent to you. And what we are currently doing here is we are introducing ourselves. We are now also talking about what we expect to achieve at the end of the bootcamp. I would have actually loved to jump into the first curriculum, like the first topic in the curriculum. But let me see how fast we can introduce ourselves. Then we can now see if we can jump in into the first topic, and that's how it is. So with that being said, so Temitayo, you will join the queue when I mention your name. You introduce yourself just like you've heard others do. So let me move straight to I can see Ejiro Lucky currently on the call. So Ejiro Lucky, you would unmute and also introduce yourself and tell us what you aim to achieve at the end of the bootcamp.
Okay, good evening. Um, Good evening. Can anyone hear me, please?
Yeah, good evening, Ejiro. We
Yeah.
can hear you. Yeah, we
Okay,
can.
okay, thank you. I'm happy to be here. I hope to learn how to design websites. I have basic knowledge on using CMS, that's like maybe WordPress and Wix, but I've never really done anything about coding, programming. So I was very skeptical initially, but I felt like let me give it a try because I really love to design websites and write the content. So I'm hoping that I would learn um, the technicalities associated with using Python and all of the other softwares you've mentioned, and hopefully be able to design a website from scratch using coding languages. So thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here once again.
Oh, thank you very much, Ejiro. Trust me, coding from scratch is actually easier than the CMS you mentioned, like WordPress and the rest of the stuff. Because with WordPress, you have a lot of plugins and attach to work with. So when you're coding, there are already existing frameworks and libraries you can use that will make your coding process quite easier and faster. So you'll be enjoying this boot camp. And at the end of the boot camp, I'm taking note of everyone that has given their comments. Like for read one now, I want to at the end of the book, I'd like to ask read one like how much have you learned and how do you intend to impact on the people out there about tech? And with the knowledge you have now, are you ready to dive straight into data analysis? Same with Oni, same with Joshua. Joshua also wants to design good web page and designs. Same with James and also Ejiro also. Then Amarashi. I would like to ask Amarashi, how good are you with CSS now? I hope you can efficiently use CSS to design any site you see. So those are the questions I would like to ask. So I'll be moving to the next person. Let me go through the person and mention the name. As Deborah Easy, you can now unmute and tell us about yourself and what you intend to achieve at the end of the boot camp. Oluwatomisin.
Good
Okay,
evening,
yeah, you've
everyone.
actually muted. Um, okay,
Uh,
yeah, I can hear you, Deborah. Maybe you could be a little bit audible
okay.
so we can hear you well.
So sorry, sir. I'm at work now. That's why I'm not very audible.
Okay, okay,
Hello.
okay. Don't worry, we would stress our ear a little to hear you. That would be nice. Just continue from where you are.
Thanks. Okay, thank you so much, sir. My name is Deborah Eze. I actually tend to gain more from the class. By grace of God, I I am prepared and open to more opportunities, to more knowledge, and also by with the help of God, I intend to use this to help others, and also be a blessing to others. So I also expect to gain more understanding, to gain more experience as the day goes by. Thank you, sir.
All right, so Deborah, that is great. So I expect at the end of the boot camp, when you gain the necessary knowledge, you should look for locals in your areas and ask them, do you want a website? I can build one for you, and you build for them. So that would also be nice. And also, I am still getting complainers regards I can't access the link from here. So I will reach out to the admins and see what is actually wrong. Although I have tested the link. Okay, Oluwatosin Obadili has his hands up. I'll be muting for him to quickly let us know what's on ground.
Okay, good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. My name is Oluwatosin. So I'm just actually joining. I actually had issues with my connection. So, and I think everybody is introducing themselves. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Oluwatosin, and also I really wish to learn a lot in the class. I want to get to have a very deep understanding about web designing and also solve problems for people also by designing beautiful websites for their businesses, their organizations, and all. Then also, I am open to learning and all of that. Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure to be among everybody.
All right, so that's great, Oluwatosin. You would be able at the end of the boot camp, you'd be able to create beautiful website, not just beautiful, functional websites. Also, I also want to say something. There are two parts actually on the boot camp. We have those that want to go for JavaScript, building websites with JavaScript, and we have those that want to build with Python. Building with JavaScript is actually very fast. When I say very fast, likewise with Python, depending on how good you are with Python. So there are actually two parts. So I would also like to hear when you guys are commenting that, oh, for building with JavaScript, I would like to build with JavaScript or I would like to build with Python. So far, I've only heard about those that want to build with Python, and I've not heard about those that want to build with JavaScript. Well, there's anyone that wants to build with JavaScript would also identify. So we could also build with JavaScript. So that's that for that. Then as regard the temporary ID, I'm currently confirming with the admin now, and I would let you guys know for those that are still. Yes, Oluwatosin said, can we learn both JavaScript and Python? You can, of course, certainly you can. So you can learn JavaScript and you can learn Python. If you want to build with JavaScript, then you have to go with for your backend, you have to do with what we call Node.js. You know, the web is currently divided into front end and back end. The front end has to do with the look. Then the back end is what makes your website dynamic and functional. That's where you get to store your data. That's where you get to confirm password and emails. That's where you get to process payments, transactions, update data. You understand? So that's just one thing there. So let me go to the next person. Who am I pointing out here? I'll be pointing out every single person here. I can see Emmanuel Adudu. So Emmanuel Adudu, you can unmute and tell us about yourself and what you intend to achieve at the end of the boot camp.
All right. Good evening, all. My name is Emmanuel Adudu from Benue State. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I would like to, after this exercise, be able to have hands-on experience on proficiency in JavaScript and Python as well. because I have certain opportunities around me that if only I have this idea, I would have explored. But I have not had this opportunity. So after this exercise, I would like to take advantage of these immediate opportunities around me and write codes for them and write a program for them. Thank you.
All right, that's great to hear, Emmanuel. At the end of the boot camp, rest assured you would have good knowledge to actually engage with the opportunities around you and make something meaningful out of them. So thank you very much. And let me go to the next question. We're actually looking at the files I have here. We're actually quite much. Like we have a handful of people about uh yeah, we should be yeah, very much. So let me just quickly finish up with people we have here, and I can now let you guys know what and what we'll be doing in the next sessions of our meeting. So I can see Princess Aisha Additional. So you can now unmute, tell us about yourself and what you intend to achieve at the end of the meeting, of the boot camp rather. Okay. Princess Aisha says she's on transit, and I have just seen a message. I'll be reading it out. She said at the end of the boot camp, I am expecting structured learning from basics to advanced web dev. Would love to be a pro at it and work with JavaScript. Projects to work with so that I can gain hands-on experience. Then community of like-minded people, mentorship from experienced developers, and career support. That is having a well put together LinkedIn resume. Okay, like a well put together LinkedIn resume reviews, etc. I'm very big on impacting as well. So that is great. And Aisha, at the end of the section, you would be ticking all this as done, and you would be very happy to be part of the boot camp. So let me point out to the next person. I can see Stido Dev. Stido Dev. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Stido Dev, you can actually unmute. Tell us about yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I am Steven Simoni from Tanzania, and I'm glad to be here to be part of this team so that at the end of this cohort or at the end of this bootcamp, I can have the hands-on experience on the JavaScript, especially on the backend, because I do have some prior knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for the front end. So at the end of this bootcamp, I expect to have the more knowledge on JavaScript, especially on the back end, as well as connecting with the like-minded individuals so that we can build the different projects together. Thank you.
All right, Steven, that is very nice to hear. Trust me, you would be working on lots of projects and you'll be able to impact good knowledge and also be able to write out good and clean codes. Um, let me see the next person here. I can see Temitayo Shitu. Temitayo, you could now unmute and also introduce yourself and tell us what you would love to achieve at the end of the boot camp.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. Gideon. Good afternoon, my co-participants. Yeah, so my name is Shitu Idris Temitayo. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. I joined this bootcamp so as to improve on my skill as a web developer. I happen to have been learning um, from different sources before, but I'm looking for a platform that has a structured learning and that is also heavy on impacting on others, in the sense that I want to be able to like put into practice what I have learned while also impacting on the younger generation after me. So that is why I've decided to join this bootcamp. And at the end of the day, I hope I'm able to learn as much as I'll be needing in order to put myself out in the tech market, and I'll be able to get more gigs. Thank you very much for this opportunity, my Dream Connect. Thank you very much.
All right, so that's nice to hear, Temitayo too. So on having a structured learning, my Dream Connect is going to offer you that for sure. If you should see the curriculum, it's already structured, and I guess the only thing I have not added or that is not there at the moment is the projects you guys will be working on. So there will actually be lots of projects. So that's just one thing you have to know. And a document is actually going to be shared for every session, or rather every time we meet, where you'd actually have to learn some things before you go to hands-on. So the thing that be rest assured you'll be having a very structured lane with my Dream Connect. So let me point out the next person. Have I Taiwo Daniel, have you actually introduced yourself? If you haven't, you can introduce yourself and let us know what you
No, I haven't,
intend
sir.
to learn or achieve at the end of the bootcamp.
All right.
Okay,
Good
you
evening. I
can now
haven't.
introduce yourself. And so,
All right. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Taiwo Daniel from Ogun State. All right. At the end of this boot camp, I would love to actually have a very solid knowledge concerning web development, because I actually have more like, should I say, solid knowledge on the front end side, right? And I'm actually hoping to learn more about the back end and also build solid projects using the front end as well, so as to just strengthen my skill and have more beautiful projects. Also, I would love to actually work with beautiful and wonderful developers as well, so that we can actually. I need to learn more about team collaboration. I need to learn more about open source, how to use GitHub, and I just want to build more projects that would actually impact my knowledge positively and also build more skill in the back end side, so as to have enough skill, okay, to actually sell myself out in the market and, yes, actually start building my own life from there. I'd really love that. So at the end, I want to actually have enough skill to say, yes, I'm a full stack developer. I would really love to have that. So thank you very much, my Dream Connect, for this opportunity. I'm really grateful for it. Thank you, sir.
all right, so that's great to hear. And you mentioned team collaboration. I took note of that. Then Git and GitHub, very, very important. Also, as a developer, you should have a repository where you could always keep your codes and where to access them. Also, take note that Git is also a collaborative environment, especially when you are when you are in an industrial setting. Let me say a company setting whereby there are like 6 or 7 developers working on the same repo, the same repository, where one person has to make some changes, then commit it, then probably somebody in charge of that repo, like an admin, would now review what you've done before you push it to the main branch. Git works with branch. So we'll be getting to that. But I also want to let you know that Git is also a collaborative environment where you could work as a team. There's Jira, and there are lots of them. And we'll also be introducing you guys to all of this and how to use it. The Google Meet itself is also a collaborative team environment, yes, because stand-up meetings, most companies use Google Meet uh, like let me say venue for stand-up meetings, and you know. So thank you very much for this comment, and you would be achieving all of that at the end of the boot camp. Who else have I not touched here? Ike Muluku. Can you now unmute and introduce yourself also? Tell us what you intend to achieve at the end of the boot camp.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for accepting me to join this program. I've been looking forward to it. Um, what I hope to achieve at the end of this program is to be able to bring out the creative ideas in terms of tech. Tech has been changing so much in the past few years, and I want to be part of that change. I want to learn, I want to collaborate with my classmates, and I want to create something with my own hands and say, okay, yes, I've been part of this. That's basically all. I don't know if I'll be able to go further than what you guys are going to teach me here, but I think you guys have given me a platform to at least start, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Thank you.
Right, the KOB, that is very nice to hear. I took note of that point where you say you'd like to create something with your own hands. Yet, my cake journey was something like that, though. I, the first project I actually worked on was there's what they call this. Um, they call it a URL reshaper, something that reshape a URL, whereby when someone sends you a URL, it's kind of shorten it and give it a kind of different look. Then you can now use that URL rather than using the main URL. And that was how I started. And trust me, it has led me far. And I can tell you, I created a lot of things with my own hands. And my Dream Connect is also offering you that opportunity to be able to do something like that. So by the end of the boot camp, you would go far actually, because my Dream Connect will actually take you from the beginner to the intermediate, if not advanced level. And with that alone, would make sure we put you on the right path, whereby you can build something with your own hands. So two people just joined. So after I point out those two people, we can now proceed to introducing the curriculum. Then I would share. Wait, Ridwan has his hands up. Ridwan, let me
Yeah,
quickly
sorry.
hear your concern.
Please, can you drop that link again? I couldn't, I can't even complete my this thing, that form that you dropped. I can't complete it the other time, so I'm unable to to go through it again. That's I'm reading my own. So can you please drop it again? I need the link, the form, the attendance form.
Okay. I will be dropping that again. Okay,
Oh,
I'll be
thank you.
dropping that again. There are actually two attendance form, and I expect you guys to fill the first attendance form. Then at the end of the meeting, you would now fill the second attendance form. Please, uh, um, the link I dropped. If you guys cannot still access it, you should let me know. Whoever is having difficulty with the link not being responsive or not leading you to what you actually meant to do, you let me know in the chat box, and I will take down your name and reach out to the admin also. But very important, try accessing the link. Okay, Taiwo Daniel said he can't access the link. Uh, there's nothing actually wrong with the link. How about you try using a different browser to work on the link? Temita Yoshitu said the same thing, that she can't access the link either. And who else is talking about not being able to access the link? Um, okay, Temitayo, rather, sorry. Temitayo is he. I am sorry about that. Temitayo said he can't access the link. Messi Njoku said she can't. Messi is a she, right? Sorry, let me not have gender identity issues at the moment. Oluwatosin also said he can't access the link. Why? I actually accessed the link today before. Let me try typing it out again. Right, exactly. Only I suspect you've been able to actually access the link. So probably others should also try Chrome browser and see if they can access the link. Oluwatosin is a she. Ha, more. That's great. I am sorry for the gender identity issues. Um, Oluwatosin, I'm sorry. Oluwatosin is a she, and she can't access the link either. So I'm typing in the link again for you guys so that you can all access it. So while we are doing that, Messi, I hope you heard us while we were introducing ourselves and talking about what we aim to achieve at the end of the boot camp. So you could also unmute your mic while I type on my own end here the link, and you tell us what you intend to achieve at the end of the boot camp.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mercy. We can hear you. You could go
Oh,
on.
you can hear me. Okay, I'm grateful for this opportunity. First of all, to be accepted into this boot camp. By the end of this boot camp, I hope to become a good programmer, especially because I need it in my education, and I hope to create change, to be part of this community in creating big things like this AI and things like that. Yes.
All right, Mercy. That's great to hear. We want to be able at the end of the program make changes with your knowledge of web development. That is very great to hear. And trust me, at the end of the program, you would be on that right track to be able to impact change to your community and also to your environment. All right, I just sent the link on the group chat again. You guys can all try it out and see if you can now access the platform and take your attendance. All right, so I have one more person I have not pointed out here. Let me quickly go through what I have here. See, I can see which is Efyong. Which is Efyong. I can see you're just joining the meeting. Uh, okay. Temitayo said you still can access the link. All right, so I would be taking down your name. So, which is Efyong, you can introduce yourself and tell us what you intend to achieve at the end of the boot camp. So I will be using my mic for you to do that. All right, so I can see everyone's comments. Dynamic link not found. Error, dynamic link not found. I can't see the link. Okay. Okay, this is the message you got. Did you just raised up our hands and Eju, I will be missing my mic so that you can give in your comments. Meanwhile, I didn't get to hear Ushi's comments. Probably Ushi is still kind of um mic shy to talk, but trust me, as a developer, you will learn how to talk very more often. All right, so Eju, let me have your question.
Okay, sorry, this link, like we're all trying to, like we're all having issues opening it, right? So I'm thinking, can we just proceed instead? Then maybe when your WhatsApp group is created for all of us, then we can just fill the forms and everything so that it doesn't delay us too much. It's just a thought or a suggestion rather. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that suggestion is valid, and we are currently working on that on the team at backside to see how we can finish that up. So once again, I'll be trying to see if which is unmute his mic and tell us what he or yeah, which should be and he intend to achieve at the end of the boot camp, and you know that's it. So wish if you can hear me, let me have your comments. Alright, so guys, why Rishi has not unmuted. I will be dropping quickly introducing you guys to what we be covering as the first topic in our curriculum. And the first topic here is introduction to HTML. So before that, let me hear you guys comment. Which one of you here knows the full meaning of HTML? Let me type it on the chat. This is the basic block, or let me say the building block, when it has to do with web design. All right, so Amarashi raised up her hands, and I'll be on muting so that Amarashi can quickly give her comments. Okay, Daniel is fast. Divitayo is fast. I can see hypertext markup language. Hypertext markup language. Messi. Someone raised up our hands, or his hands rather. I don't know. Gender
Yes, very
issues. You guys should
sir.
not be offended. Whoever raised up his hand first should.
That's I raised up man because I wanted to say the full meaning of HTML.
Let me have your comment.
Okay, thank you. Hypertext
Okay, that's
markup
great.
language,
So
but
yeah, you're welcome. So that is uh, okay, guys. That is great to hear. So when you guys hear the word hypertext markup language, what comes to you guys' mind? But shortly, I'll be sharing my screen. Um, I did you guys get my question? Where I was like, when you hear the word hypertext markup language, what actually comes to your mind? What do you like? What do your mind just tell you? Okay, Joshua just raised up his hands, and Joshua, you can now tell us what comes to your mind. Let me know.
Um, well, whenever I hear HTML, I immediately think of the foundation of the web. Just like the foundation, like how to do the title, the paragraphing, and all that. Like putting the headings, paragraphs, and the rest of them. So it's just like the skeleton of every website to lay the foundation.
Exactly. So let me just quickly give you guys a rundown. That was a very nice response. Let me give you guys a rundown of how it would have been if there was no HTML. All your texts or whatever you see on the websites would be plain. When I mean would be plain, just like on the chat now, you will see me type hi. Understand? So how do we let people on the web know that this hi I typed should be in bold form, or should it be in italics? Should the color be blue or red? Should it be clickable? Are you getting my point of view? So HTML is actually what helps you structure how your websites or content should look. I hope you guys get my points. So I'll quickly be sharing my screen with you guys. So we'll walk through that together and see how it should be. I'm sharing my screen now. So if you guys can see my screen, I would like to see something like a thumbs up. Can you guys see my screen now?
No, we can't see. I
Oh
think
no, you can't see anything yet.
No, not yet. You can't see.
Okay.
How about
Okay, we
now?
can see now. We can see.
All right. So at the end of the class, I'll be sharing this document with you guys. And this is actually what we'll do first. What we are doing first, actually, we are doing the reading, the learning, then we can now go down to writing of codes. So first thing here is we are doing the introduction to HTML. And HTML actually is just about elements, tag, and attributes. I hope you guys get the point of view rather. So here I quickly just introduce what HTML is. I said HTML is an hypertext markup language. It's the standard language used to create web page, and that's true. There is no other workaround when it has to do with web page. So it actually has to be HTML. So it provides the structure of the web page by using elements and tag to define contents. Say to define contents such as texts. So when we say defining content in terms of texts, should the text be in a small letter? Should it be bold? Should it have a color? Should it be in italics? Should it be bigger, like let me say bigger than the other texts? Something like an overall, like just like this now. You can see in terms of size, this is bigger than this. How about color? In terms of color, this is blue, this is black. You can also see red, we can see green. So when we say by defining elements, like structuring a web page by using elements and tag, we can use HTML to define content such as text, then also image. With HTML, we can add image to a web page, then also links and also form. I hope you guys know what forms are. We actually fill in a form like as a form of attendance. So with HTML, we can do this. So let's quickly look at the HTML elements. Can you guys see my screen? Can you guys still see
Yes,
my screen?
yes, 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 yes.
Mm, okay. So let's quickly look at HTML elements. So here it says an HTML element is the building block of a web page. Meaning, without the HTML elements, we aren't ready to build a web page. So it consists of an opening tag, a content, and a closing tag. Take note of the word a contents. You can't just have an element and not include a contents. Although there are exceptions whereby you can have an element and there won't be contents inside. You know, when we talk about HTML being structure in our web page, this right here is a line. You guys can see it. It's like an horizontal rule. It's also part of structuring a web page. There are sites that have lines like these horizontal rules there. So something like this can be an exception whereby there is no content in it. I hope you guys get the point. So but take notes, an HTML element is the building block of a web page, and it consists of an opening tag, a content, and a closing tag. And here is an example. For now, we are just doing the introductory parts. It will get to the part where guys you actually have to write codes and the rest of the stuff. So we'll also talk about that. So this is an example of what I just explained now. Now, this is the tag. This is the opening tag. You can see this P now is a paragraph element. Can you guys hear me? This is a paragraph element, and HTML itself has lots of elements. We have paragraph elements. We have a lot of elements. But first, we break them into levels. We have block levels elements, and we have inline elements. We'll get to that. So for now, we are just trying to explain how an element looks like. We have the opening tag, the content. Look at the content here. Content here is hello world. Then we have a closing tag. So let's quickly look at types of HTML elements. We have block level elements. So when you hear the word block elements, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind when you hear the word block elements? Let someone quickly unmute and tell me what comes to his or her mind when they hear the word block elements. All right, so in the absence of nobody having a knowledge of what block elements are, let me just give you a real world example of what block elements actually looks like. Block elements, like I would say, they occupy space. And when they occupy that space, they make sure nobody, when I mean nobody shares the space with them. Let me try to draw something out so you guys can get the major knowledge of what I'm trying to bring in. Let's see, let me go to the ending part. Let's say this is a space now. Now, block elements would not let you type close to it, that is at its side. You can see I'm trying to click to type by the side, but it won't allow me. But it will also allow me to type at the bottom. That's what block elements actually looks like. They don't let you share space with them. Only them occupy that particular space. So an example of a block element is a paragraph. Another example is a div element. Although div elements also go to another section where they call semantics, semantic elements. Semantic element tells you, like, it gives your web page a structure. So with that being said, the other examples of block elements, we have H1. The H1 starts for the header. That is the levels of how your text should be. We have H1 to H6. Then we have sections and we have articles. Those are examples of block elements. Once those elements occupy a space, you can't be at their side. You either be at the top or at the bottom. Then we have inline elements. Inline elements allow you to flow along with them. You can have an inline element by the side and a text close to it. It's not necessarily you have to be at the top or at the bottom. You can share space with inline elements. An example is a span elements. We have the link elements. That is the A tag. We have strong and we have the emphasis. That is the EM elements. So there are lots of elements that fall under this, and we'll be covering that while we are writing our codes. So the next thing is, what are HTML tags? So tags are used to define elements in HTML. They are enclosed in angle brackets. So with just this explanation, you should know what is tag. This is a tag, isn't it? If you guys can hear me, somebody should unmute and respond. This is a
Yes.
tag, right?
Yes.
Look at this one now. It's a tag. Good. Okay, good. So this is an example of a tag. Like the P element we use as an example here now that says hello world. This is a tag. So when we will say an element is actually an element is complete when it has both an opening tag, a closing tag, and a content. That's when you call it an element. If there is no content inside, then we won't call it an element. If there is no closing tag, it's not an element. I hope you guys get my points. So I give an example here. At the end of the meeting, I'll be sharing this with you guys. So this is an opening tag. This is a closing tag. And this is a content. This is an example of an element. But this is an example of a tag. P is a tag, the paragraph tag, the hyperlink tag. We have the image tag. We have the list tag. This is an ordered list. And this is a list item. So this makes up an element. This makes up an element. This makes up an element. And this makes up an element. But this is a tag. This is a opening tag. And we also have a closing tag. This is an example of a closing tag here. This is a closing tag. You know, how do you tell the difference between a opening tag and a closing tag? Let's say we want to write a paragraph now. This is an opening tag where we have just the P inside. This is a content. This is what we want to be inside the paragraph. Then to also add the closing tag, there used to be a backward, no, this is a forward slash. Then the element, which is the P, rather, the P. Then we close it with the angle brackets. Are you seeing it? So this is an opening tag. This is a closing tag. And that's what you are seeing here. So let's proceed. So, you know, when we're defining, talking about introducing HTML, we talked about elements, we talk about tag, then we also talk about attributes. So what's an attribute? Here it says an attribute provide additional information about an HTML elements. They are written inside the opening tag. Take note of the word. They are written inside the opening tag. They are not written with the contents. Rather, they are written with inside the opening tag. Now, this image here, img, is an opening tag, right? So inside this, inside the image elements, the image opening tag rather, we can add additional information, which is the attributes. So this is an example of an attribute. For the image tag now, it takes a source. A source specifies where are we fetching the image from. Then it also takes an alternative text. Most times, I don't know, you guys should have been to a website whereby you visit the website and the image is not loading, but there's a text description on it that says something like logo.png or this image is about this or that. So that's what this auth actually serves for in the website for the image elements. So this is a perfect example of how an attribute should look like. Also, you can see this image tag also takes a width attribute. The width attribute helps us to set the width of the image. Should this image occupy the entire screen? Or should it just stop at where it is? Or should it be 300 pixel or 200 pixel? That's an example of an attribute. So let's quickly look at common HTML attributes. The hyperref here tells us the description is it defines the link to the URL. The source, it specifies the source of the image, and this is an example. This is an example of an hyperref attributes. Here you add a link. This is an example of like that link I posted on the group chat now. We can encapsulate it into the a tag and make it a full element, which is a link element, and say click me rather than me just putting the full link there. Another example is the auth here. The auth is an alternative text for image, and you can see it here. We describe this image. You can write this is an image of a boy, or this is an image of a girl. There's also what we call ID. The ID is a unique identifier for elements. Now, let me give you an example of why we would be needing ID. Imagine you are building a web page now, and there's a lot of p tags, or there's a lot of image tags, or there's a lot of let me put the hyperlink tags there. How do you tell one element from the other? That's where you get to use the ID attributes. Look at it here now. For this p tag now, it has an ID attribute that says intro. So with this, you can perfectly, whenever you want to reference this particular element, you can just reference it by the ID and say, I'm looking for this element that has an ID that is what? Intro. Likewise, look at this. There's another attribute that they call class. Although an ID is unique for each element, different elements can also share the same class, but they can't share the same ID. I guess my point. Well, it might sound complex now, but later while we are writing codes and the rest, you would understand it better. But ID is a unique, take note of the word, is a unique identifier. But for class, multiple elements can share a class. And why do they share it? So that we can give them a common styling. Everybody can have the same styling. That is what we use the class attribute for. So let's look at another example of elements. We have a self-closing element. So self-closing element are some elements that do not require a closing tag. Look at an example now. You know, all through I was talking, you didn't see something like an image tag having a closing tag like this. Are you getting my point? So an image tag is an example that doesn't need a closing tag. A line break is an example of element that doesn't need a closing tag. And it also doesn't need a content. Sometimes we call them void elements. Another example is the isharg. The isharg tag, that is the horizontal line. It doesn't need a closing tag. Neither does it need a content. Then for your forms, you'll be using what we call the input element or the input tag. It doesn't need a closing tag either. So we call them void elements or we call them self-closing elements. So let's look at how the structure of an HTML page should look like when you are building a site. How is it supposed to look like? What should be the structure? Are you getting my point there? So a good example is this structure. In this structure, A basic HTML page has a standard structure which includes the doc type. The doc type is very essential for letting us know what type of, it lets the browser or whatsoever, how would I put it, ID knows that what you are working on is an HTML like element. So that's where we get to use the doc type. And what language is your HTML working around with? That's where you signify the language, says in English. Then after that, what should come next is the head elements. That's a heading tag. And here, we call this metadatas. In metadatas, we get to talk about the character sets. You know, the web has different character sets. I don't know, this is an off topic, but character sets are like, you know, these languages that different computer gets to know this symbol. This is the binary code for it. This particular symbol, this is the binary code for it. So UTF-8 is like a chart that has all the symbols that it would like every different computer to properly interpret. If not, another computer can interpret a particular symbol as, or a particular character as something different. So UTF-8 here now helps all other computers to know whenever you see any of these HTML documents, look at this my charts, and every symbol or every character you see here, this is how you should represent it. So it's very important that when you're coding, you include in your basic HTML documents your character sets that it should be in UTF-8. I think this is a common one that everybody uses. There's UTF-16, there is ASCII, which is ASCII, there is Latino, there's a lot of character sets. So the next has to do with where you have to describe the metadata for your site. Should it be a full, like encompass your full browser? Should the page completely cover your full web browser? That's where you get to describe the viewports. How do you want it to be? Should it just be like this document whereby it's not touching the entire end of the screen? It's just somewhere here. So this one talks about the viewport being the device width. So it's not going to look like this document you are seeing. It's going to cover the whole document, like the whole page, rather, the whole screen page. That's where you get to talk about how you want it to be. When you talk about the viewports, the content should be width, and the width should be the device width. Then the initial scale should be set to 1.0. That is, you are telling the browser not to allow you to zoom, like the users to zoom. Should just be fixed the way you want it. So the browser should not zoom when it's rendering the page to the user. You just keep it the way you've left it to be, which is the device width. Then in the header, you also have what we call a title. The title is what gets displayed at the top of your browser. Just look at something like this now. This is the title. This is introduction to what? HTML. So when you visit a particular site, if you should check, if you are visiting it with a PC, you will see something like Google at the top, or Google homepage. You can see something like my Dream Connect homepage. So this is where this actually comes from, the title. So the title tag takes in a content, and this content here says my first HTML page. Then after the head, we have what we call the body. The body now has to do with what do you want to show people about this website? Are we showing them welcome to let me say we are a caterer now, like we offer catering service. I say welcome to my catering business. You can now show image of you doing some catering service. You can now put a form that says book me. So the body is where you do all of that. So you have to actually have a body tag. In the body tag, that's where you get to put all your HTML elements into it. So this one now has an H1 element. This H1 element, in terms of sizes, this one becomes very, very big. And it has the text the content that says welcome to HTML. Then this is a paragraph with this is where I'm not going to this is where you guys are now actually seeing how HTML will help you structure your site. This one now has a strong element. Meaning when you view this web page, you won't be seeing this tag, but you see this content that has bold text here, it will be very, very bold. That's what HTML actually do. As with that text, it lets you know should your text should it be bold, should it be blue, should it be black, should it be red. But in this time around, we are laying emphasis on the look. So we are adding the strong tag that says this should be bold. So we also try to also include link that says click here. This is a link. And you can see the attributes. This is the href attributes. Whenever you click here, this is where it will lead you to. https example.com. That's if the link actually exists. So this is the breakdown of everything. The doc type, it declares the document type. The HTML is the root element of an HTML document. Everything you write should always be inside the HTML tag. Everything should always be in the HTML tag. And it starts like this. And it has a closing tag that ends with this. Then the head contains metadata such as title, character sect, and viewports. Then the body contains the visible page. That's what everybody that comes to your site, that's what they see. They don't see the doc type, they don't see the HTML, they don't see the header, the head rather. All this is for the machine to process, for the web processor, the browser should process. So that's just what it's all about. So in conclusion, HTML element define the structure of a web page. Tags are used to create elements and they mostly come in pair. Take note of the word, they mostly come in pairs. You know, although some element they don't come in pair. That's what we call the self-closing elements, or we call them the void elements. Then attributes add extra information about elements. Then self-closing element do not require a closing tag. Then a basic HTML page consists of doc type, HTML, then the HTML tag, then the head and the body. So with just this basic knowledge, we can start creating web page. So I'll be sharing this document with you guys to read through. Then after that, we will now be doing hands-on lab and seeing how to implement this in terms of practical. So that's just that on that. I can now start taking you guys questions. I'm stopping my presentation. All right, so is there any questions so far that you would like to ask? And I would give good answers to that. Okay, Edu, your hands is up. I would like to hear your questions and give answers to that.
All right, thank you so much. That was a very, very insightful training. Like you made it as simple as possible. Like for someone who has no knowledge of anything called programming, at least right now I can say that I have a very good background knowledge of what it entails. I'm sure when we go into the practical session, a lot of things will become clearer, like you said. So my question is, with everything you have just explained, the tasks and all, are we going to need a specific kind of software to, implement all of this, or on what structure, or how do I put it, where exactly are you going to be able to, implement all of these things you have said? I don't know if the question makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Actually, there is no wrong questions. So we actually will be using Visual Studio Code, and we also try to also use online IDs also to do whatever we want to do. So these are the softwares we'll be using. I will be sending everything into the group. Using the software we call Visual Studio Code. And for those that don't, laptop is very mandatory. But those that are in their workplace and are having, they can't get access to their laptop. I would also be recommending an ID you can use with your phone. And also there will also be online IDs you would also use. So this is just a like, how would I put it? For every document I give to you guys to read and understand, I would firstly be introducing it, that is talking about it with you guys. So that is why I had to actually introduce this document, since I'll be putting it on the group for you guys to read. And after that, you can now have hands-on lab on what we've just read. Emmanuel Dudu, yes. So that is the walkthrough actually. Then we can now begin practicalizing in our next class. Then after we practicalize, we also do a quick introduction into the documents for the next other class that is coming in. So that is how we keep doing it till we finish everything up. I hope I answered your question correctly. I don't want a situation whereby I drop a document and I get responses like, I was so busy, I couldn't look through the document. So how do I do this? How do I do that? No, I would introduce the document with you guys. Then when I share it, everybody can go and read it. Then know that for this lab that is coming up, this is what we are doing. And I have good knowledge about it. Any question, any questions? And if I've not answered your question correctly, you can also raise up your hand and I'll try my best to also answer it again. So is there any other questions as regard HTML? So in summary now, I could just point somebody else and say, okay, we've learned about HTML today. I think we had something like HTML elements. We had something like tags, opening and closing tags. We had something like attributes. We had something like contents, that HTML element are supposed to have a content. We learned something about how an HTML document should be structured, isn't it? Yeah, we learned something like that. So we also learned that some HTML element needs a closing tag. Some don't need a closing tag. Some need an attribute. Some don't need an attribute. We also learned that some of these elements can also have unique IDs, so that in a thousands, let me say, our particular web page now might have like 40 p tag, that's a p elements. So what do we do? How do we identify which of the p tag we want to style? So we learned that we can use an ID attributes to say, okay, this particular p tag, let's give it this ID. Let's call it third p tag to style, or I'm styling you in the next 2 hours. Maybe that's probably the title you give to the ID. Then when you want to style it, you can just go to the ID and style. Then how about if you want to style everything in general? Let me say you have like 40 p tags and you want let me say 10 out of the p tags, you want them to have a blue color. You could use a class attributes. In that class attribute now, you can now say let all these 20 p tags, let them be blue or let them be red. Let their sizes increase. Let them be bigger than the others. How about let them be bold? You get, so that's what we get to do with that. So once again, I'll say thank you to everyone that joined the section today. We've been able to introduce ourselves we all now know each other. We know what we are after, what we need to achieve at the end of the boot camp. So very important to us is the knowledge of the IDs we need to use. So let me quickly drop a link on the ID that we'll be using. This is it. This is it here. So in your browser, just type Visual Studio Code. So when you type in Visual Studio Code on your browser, you will see an option to download. You will now download it. So when you download it, in our next class, we'll now code together. While I'm coding on my own screen, you guys are seeing it. On your own laptop also, you'll be putting in your code. Whatever response you get, when I make it solo that way, lots of you are going to get errors. We can now like raise up our hand. We talk about the errors you are getting or what you are seeing. As each one of us are raising our hands, we can now attend to every single person here. So that will be all on that for today. If there's still any questions, you guys can let me know. So before we end the boot camp for today, everyone should sign their attendance. I'm dropping the link again. The link is already on the WhatsApp group chats. Let me drop the link again. Then
Sorry, sir. Sorry to interrupt.
everybody
How
should
are we
sign.
supposed
Those that
to? How are we supposed to be on the group chat when we don't even? We are not even on any WhatsApp group chat. Or do you mean the WhatsApp channel? Because I'm not in any group chat yet.
exactly the WhatsApp channel. Uh, sorry about the wrong pointing out. So it's the WhatsApp channel. But hold on, I'll be giving you guys a link now. Then everybody should sign out after the class today. So let me give you guys a link. Hold up. Oh, Amarachi, I saw your comments. Thank you very much. Sure. And then you'll be able to sign in just in a few minutes. You should be able to do that.
Okay, sorry, sir. We are asked to fill an attendance, but I can't see any form right now.
Yeah, it's a link. When you click on it, you will be able to fill in your attendance form.
Okay, has it been posted already? Because I can't see any link apart from the first one.
Yeah, it has been posted already, but I'll be posting it again.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. So with that being said, I hope you guys can also like after the meeting, you guys can proceed to downloading the software, which is the Visual Studio Code, that would enable you guys to be able to also write your own codes. I already placed the name on the chat box. It's Visual Studio Code. I hope you guys just take note of the name, write it down, then download it because our next meeting tomorrow will be making use of it.
Hello, sir, Mr. Iboyi. Please, can you hear me, please? Hello?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, talking about the Visual Studio Code. I'm presently
Yeah,
on
I
my
can.
browser right now. I'm presently on my browser and it is giving different specification. I
Okay.
understand one is for Windows 10 and I'm presently on my phone. There is one for Debian, Ubuntu, RPM, Red Hat, Fedora, SUSE. Which one should we download? And I understand one is for Mac. I guess that is for iPhone users. Which one is good for Android?
All right. So let me quickly walk you guys. That's a very good question. For Android, Visual Studio Code is not actually for phone. It's actually for PC. I'll be walking you guys how to download it now. In fact, let's do that. I'm sharing my screen now. Let's quickly go through the process. If you guys can see my screen, you guys should also indicate so that we can proceed.
See, we can see your screen now.
Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, please.
Okay. On my browser, I would type Visual Studio Code and voila. Yeah. It has an option for download here. So I would click on the download. Okay, on download, it could actually take me to my um Windows Store, that's the App Store. But I won't do that. I'll actually visit the link here. It's taking me now down to the link. How do you guys saw the link I clicked? This was the link. Let me copy it. And also let me paste it on the chats. So this was the link I clicked. I've pasted it on the chats. Although when I get access ahead, see something shorter. This is shorter. This is very short. Let me paste this one instead of the previous one. The previous one is actually long. This. So let me quickly tell you guys about this. Now, every laptop has an operating system. My own laptop I'm using currently runs on Windows, and it's actually running on a 64 bits for the processor, 64 bits. So I would actually click on this, and it has an option for Windows 10 and Windows 11. I suppose everyone here is their Windows PC is running on Windows 10 or Windows 11, which are the versions that are very current at the moment. Then for those that their operating system is Linux, that are running on Debian or Ubuntu, they could download from here. Then for those that are running on that is the Apple, that is the Mac operating system, you could download from here. So it's either you click on any one of this. For me now, I'm using Windows. Somebody might be using Linux for his operating system. So if you want to know about your PC so that you will know which one to download, come to your search bar just like my own here, and I will type about. You can see it just brought it out for me, which is about PC, and I can see everything about my PC. Now it's going to open up everything about my PC for me. Are you seeing it? So this PC is actually good with as regard battery, and that's why I'm using it. Currently, I'm not still connected, and my battery is okay. You can see everything about the PCs here. So it's running on an X64 based processor. Are you seeing it? And it's running on Windows 11. So when you type about your PC, you'll be able to see this, and this will guide you in knowing which one to actually download. You can see this is the X64 here, and it's running on Windows 10. So I would know this is for me. When you type about your PC, you would know if your PC is running on a Mac OS or is running on a Debian or so. So for Windows now, I will click on this. Although I already have it installed on my PC. Click on this and it's going to take me there. I already have it downloaded on my PC already, but let me walk you guys through the process. All right, I guess their link is broken, but let it try again. Right, it's actually trying to reload as due to the fact that I'm having a little, probably the link is broken, but let's try again. And for those that also want to try, rather than downloading, trying it online, you could actually use this link. Let me copy it and also paste it on the chat. Could use this also. Meanwhile, this is becoming difficult to download, which is not supposed to. So probably my network is not very giving. Can you guys still hear me? If you can, please, someone should unmute and say yes, he can hear and also can
Yes.
see what
Yes,
I'm
sir.
doing.
Yes.
All right, so that's great. So on your own end, when you get to this part, all you just have to do is click on download. Then it will start downloading. You see something at this side that shows something like a drop down, and it's showing you that it's downloading. Then when you download, this is what you should be seeing. This is it here. Look at the logo well. It matches what you're seeing here. So I'm trying to open this now so you see it. So I currently have it installed on my PC and I use it for all my coding activities. You can see it's opening up. You can see there are lots of code actually running in here. Look at codes and it's opening up. So I'll be giving you guys the link is there already, and you guys would not be this. I would now walk you guys through how to configure the environments, the coding environments to make it easy for everyone to use. So is there any other question that needs an answer from me? And I would quickly give an answer to that. Is there any other question? You know, some of you also said you guys would like to code with your own hands. So this is what we'll be doing. Once you download the Visual Studio Code, you can now practice that. Those what you just saw me do. That is those explanations. Amashi, how about you try this link again? It's working now.
Okay, please, I follow the steps you just gave to us now.
So you guys can
And
try this.
yeah, but I'm asked to accept an agreement or something, something. So I don't know if I'm still on the right path. That's like a license agreement.
Yes, you are. Can you share
Okay.
your screen with us and I would walk you? Yes, can you share your screen with us so I could walk you? Everyone should see how I'm walking you guys through the process. Can you?
Okay, so I'm not connected with my laptop. I'm using my phone, so I'm not really able to share except I connect with my system, and that might take a little while. So I don't know if we'll have that time.
Okay,
Okay, just
okay. Wait, I think I can do that again on my own end. Hold
okay.
on. Let me present my screen. Let me see if I still have the raw downloads on my browser. If I do, then that would be great. If you guys can see my screen, you let me know and I will proceed with. Mm, checking if I still have the raw downloads with me. I don't think I do. Mm, no, I don't think I do. So this is what we are doing. For our next class, we are downloading. You guys should have already downloaded your Visual Studio Code. I would also download my raw file. Then I will share my screen. You guys will watch the installation process. Then install the necessary extension we need. We practice what we just learned, the document we just learned, while I share my screen doing that. Then when we're done with that, we'll now introduce the second topic. Then our next meeting would be practicing what we learned on Visual Studio Code, then also introducing the next topic for the next hands-on lab. Are you guys okay with that? Or is the information clear?
Yes, it is clear, Mr. Eboy. Please, can you please share your WhatsApp number so that we can be able to reach out to you concerning the WhatsApp groups and stuffs and some other questions? Yes.
Um, all right, I will do that also. I will be doing that. But you guys will be added to a group, every single one of you, so that the information can be properly passed among each other. So I'll be doing that also after the meeting or before the meeting ends. So that would be good. Ridwan, I
Sorry.
can see you unmuted your mic. Can you
Yes. Sorry.
let
Yeah,
us
you
know your
still
concern?
you still wanted to drop the document for this class, so you've not dropped it yet.
All right. For the documents, it will be circulated through each one of you emails. So you guys should just watch out for an email that has the documents that says introduction to HTML and elements tags and so. So you guys will be getting an email all around about that.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. I can hear
Okay,
you.
sir, I was able to fill in the attendance link on my cousin's phone. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. That is great to hear. Who else is still having issues with filling in the attendance should signify, let me know.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you. Read
Yeah,
one.
the first one, I know I can't. I'm unable to play the first one. I dropped the other time.
But how about the second one? Are you able to fill in the second one?
Yes, yes, I've done that already.
Okay, okay, that's great. All right. So, is there any question as regard that? Okay, I also want to talk about something here. Um, Somebody told me why introducing ourselves. Someone said he or she was at her workplace, and I want to know: do you have access to your laptop on situations that demand you using your laptop for hands-on lab? If you're still in the meeting, please you could unmute and let me know. Then probably we could also drop an online IDE for you to use on your phone. Although you won't be expecting the same result as those that are using their laptop.
Thank you, sir. No, sir. When I'm at work, I don't have access to a system. But when I'm at home, I do have access to a system. So we actually run shifts based actually. Can you hear me, sir?
Okay, that yeah, I can. I can. That's great. So we'll be using an online ID for you to 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 do that. You can now use your phone. You might not be getting the same result as those that use their laptop, but trust me, you will like what you see. You can now code with your phone the HTML and the CSS and the JavaScript. So stay put. So during work time and you also like you've joined the meeting, you could use your phone. You won't have any difficulty. I'll be giving you a link to an ID you can download on your phone to do that. So is there any other concerns or question?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much,
And
sir.
so that I could quickly attend to it. And take note, I'm not the yeah, you're welcome. I'm not the only instructor on ground. Currently, I would be the instructor that is walking you guys through the baby steps. Shortly, others will be joining, other fascinating and let me say very strong instructors would also be joining to carry you guys on this ride. But trust me, I'll be telling them about you guys, about how I get to learn a lot about you guys and how you can also he or she. So we have lots of instructors. So for now, the only instructor you're talking with at the moment is Gideon. The other instructors coming in also. So that will be the end of the meeting today. Please ensure that all your attendants are properly signed. And if you do enjoy today's session of the boot camp, um, thumbs up, clap, love, roses. I would appreciate that. So let me quickly present the attendance once more. Then we have two instructors, male instructors that would also be carrying you guys along. So thank you, Ridwan, Emmanuel, James, Ejiro, Joshua, Deborah. I won't forget Princess Aisha. I won't forget Temitayo, Temitope. I'm just seeing Thomas Ewa. Thomas Ewa just joined. So Thomas Ewa wasn't able to introduce himself. Trust me, the next meeting you introduce yourself. Thank you very much, Amarashi. Aisha just joined, I guess. Next meeting you'll be introducing yourself. Ijo, thank you very much. Mercy Mjoku. Oni, thank you very much. So that's the end of the meeting today. By 4 p.m. tomorrow, we would actually be getting our hands on our PC or on our phone and we'll be writing real codes. So thank you very much, everyone. And you can now leave the meeting. Right, so Deborah, the meeting has ended. Ridwan, the meeting has ended. Temitayo, the meeting has ended. Temitokbe, the meeting has ended. Be sending in the necessary documents you guys need. And Thomas Ewa, meeting has ended also.